Welcome to the 5th episode of the 30-Minute Drill. I'm Francesco Terranova alongside Maros, Ademac, and Alec Oppenheim. And today we are going to talk about NFL fines, the latest NFL injuries and trades that you need to know about, and is Cam Newton being a crybaby, and also the start of the NBA basketball season with Russell Westbrook and the Warriors' fall from greatness, which they eventually came back from. So to start off, we're going to talk about fines. If we could see that graphic that shows a lot of the incidents that happened this year with Antonio Brown's twerking, Earl Thomas hugging the referee, and then Odell taking his helmet off while still on the field. There's a lot of things going on, and it's being called the No Fun League instead of the NFL. Maros, what are your thoughts on this?
That monkey ear's been there forever. Like, anytime you see news like this come up in the league, that's the first thing everybody goes to, points to the No Fun League. And it's true. It's a validated expression of anger. Because if you think about it, the NFL is entertainment at its core. Sports in America on TV was founded for entertainment purposes. So, you end up seeing everything on highlight shows the next morning or the next afternoon anyway, because of the controversy it causes when Roger Goodell throws out these fines or the NFL throws out these fines. So the NFL is getting more publicity and thus, at the end of the day, getting more revenue off of something that they fine their players for doing, which is just backwards to me.
Yeah, a lot of things like we said, Antonio Brown's twerking, a lot of things that are considered inappropriate, and also a guy like Vontaze Burfict. He's only been in the league for 4 years, and he's accumulated over $700,000 worth of fines. That's bigger than most guys' contracts. But for this purpose, with Odell taking his helmet off and Earl Thomas hugging a referee, Goodell's argument is that these fines are being given out to players for safety reasons. Alec, what are your thoughts on that?
I completely disagree with that. He just wants to crack down on these incidents so they don't happen again. It makes the league look bad in his opinion because these players are acting like as you said before, crybabies. They can't. It's called a no fun league for a reason. Not just with the fines, but also with penalties. Like defensive players can't play defense anymore. They can't touch the players, or else they get flagged with pass interference, all things like that. They can't do anything anymore. And it's so much harder for them to play, and it's very frustrating, which is why they do these things.
I completely agree, but to back up Roger Goodell, there are a lot of things like roughing the passer, helmet-to-helmet hits, and horse collar tackles. What are your thoughts on those?
Those penalties are inexcusable. Sure, some penalties that are called shouldn't be called, but most of them, the refs are right on the money with those things. Roughing the passer, they throw it, a few seconds later he hits him, and that's ridiculous. He shouldn't be hitting him like that after the ball's already out of his hand. He should try to get out of the path of the quarterback and avoid him. They have to understand that the quarterback is the most important player on the other team. And with all these penalties, it's just inexcusable, and they need to be stopped right away. Yeah,
and recently Richard Sherman actually had what people are saying should have been called roughing the kicker. I believe it was against the Bills. And that's a major issue, too, that a lot of people are saying, because you're fining these guys over these little things that they're doing, and then Richard Sherman goes out and does that, and there's no flag, nothing being done. But I guess one benefit is that not many people know this, but this fines, all the fines, the money that it's going to, is not actually going to the NFL. It's going back to the Players Association in retirement, which I guess could be seen as a benefit. The money's going back to you in a way. So that's all from fines around the NFL. When we come back, we're going to talk about Cam Newton and the overall safety in the NFL, along with trades this season.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Positano Pizza, the finest Italian cuisine and pizzeria. Show us your Wayne Hill student ID to get 2 slices of pizza or a bowl of pasta, plus a drink for only $5.
Welcome back to The Drill. Now moving on to injuries and trades, or lack thereof, as the only real major trade we saw around the NFL was Jamie Collins going to the Browns, and all they got for it was a 3rd-round pick. So not a whole lot happening around the NFL, but there's also a lot of injuries. We'll stick with the trades first. Maros, what are your thoughts on the lack of trades this year?
Jamie Collins to the Browns just speaks to New England's depth this season. Obviously, it looked like they just wanted to dump off some unnecessary salary cap and acquire a potential 3rd-round pick that could butt into a prospect. You never know these days. We've all seen the Cinderella stories that some unsung low-draft heroes turn out into. But, more so than anything, it just shows that New England's an organization that's comfortable with their moves. They don't really mess around here. They have a set game plan, and if you don't fit into it, they'll find a quick way to dump you off, even if it's for a third-round pick in the situation of Jamie Collins.
Yeah, and doing that is giving a young guy like Donta Hightower a lot of more time to play for them and really become even more of a leader that I think they expected when they had originally gotten him. So moving on to injuries. Major injuries starting off the year. J.J. Watt, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year for except 2014. He's been winning it ever since. Alec, what are your thoughts on injuries around the NFL?
I mean, injuries are killers every year. They ruin teams' years. I mean, J.J. Watt, he's most likely the Texans' best player, and Jadeveon Clowney has been amazing this year. He's done what he's supposed to do. He was the number 1 pick a few years back, and if those two can get paired together, they could have a really good D-line. And other injuries such as like C.J. Anderson haven't been as fatal to the Broncos because Devontae Booker has really stepped up as a running back and gotten the job done. But some fatal injuries such as Keenan Allen, wide receiver for the Chargers, that's been very deadly to them because they really haven't had that guy that can just go up and get those balls and get the job done and score touchdowns and win games for them.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of big names go down. Like I said, J.J. Watt, Adrian Peterson tearing his meniscus, could be out until late December. And with the Vikings now losing their kicker, there's a lot of ifs in that organization, especially going on that 4-game losing streak.
Starting out so strong, too.
Yeah, 5-0. They're reminding us of last year with the Falcons. They're starting off 5-0 and then going on that, 7 to 8 game losing streak. Pretty crazy stuff. And then Keenan Allen, not a lot of people know of his situation, but this is his 4th season-ending injury in only 5 years. Yeah. And he's definitely a great player. We all know how good he can be. He just has not been able to show it because of all the injuries. So that's all from trades and injuries around the NFL. Stay right here for our midseason MVP picks when we come back.
For more information on advertising on Wayne Hills TV, contact Mr. Hookstraight at jhookstraight@wayneschools.com.
Moving on to our favorite time of the year, the midseason MVP picks. We've agreed on 3 candidates: Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, and Ezekiel Elliott. All of them really worthy, especially looking at the stats, talking before we went on camera, how surprising a lot of these players have been throughout the season. So I'll start off with you, Alec. Who's your pick for the MVP?
I'm going to have to go with Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he's been absolutely unbelievable. He has over 1,000 yards on the year already as a rookie. I mean, he's not only going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, he's going to win the MVP. I have no doubt in my mind. He not only can he run, he can catch the ball too. He has over 200 receiving yards. And some people say that it might be because of that offensive line, 3 Pro Bowlers on that line. But I think it's more than that. I think he's just a very good back. He's very elusive and has great vision and could just do anything he can to get in the end zone.
Yeah, something you brought up is that offensive line. We've seen DeMarco Murray have a great year with that, and also, another aspect is his receiving. Not many people know about that. They just know him as that strong power back. But he had an 83-yard touchdown, or not touchdown, but a receiving 83-yard reception, and rushing a 60-yard touchdown that actually came about. And he, I believe, is leading the league or in second place with most 20-yard carries with 8 of them. 9 touchdowns, 111 yards. It's pretty crazy. If we could see that graphic one more time, all these stats that we're seeing from him are things that are reminiscent of other greats like Emmitt Smith, all these guys from the Cowboys organization. So, Maros, who's your pick for the MVP?
Obviously, Matt Ryan and Derek Carr, with potential to have explosive offenses, are deservedly up there in the midseason MVP candidates. But I'm going to have to be slightly unoriginal and agree with Alec here. Because Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, you've seen it in other sports. You've seen it in hockey and basketball. Superstars who just have the ability to get people out of their seats and pay attention to the screen. But watching SportsCenter highlights, per se, or just highlights of the Cowboys running game, Elliott pops out to you in a way that not a lot of football players do, always trying these extra spectacular moves, leaping over defenders. His yards after contact numbers, while I don't have them on me right now, even just watching games sound unreal. He refuses to go down after the first hit. And with an offense that features almost, if we gave it a little bit more time and discussed a little bit more, I think Dak Prescott could find a way to sneak himself onto this list as well. So, I mean, all the stars have aligned properly for Ezekiel Elliott, coming out of a fantastic university and jumping into an offense with a great offensive line and arguably even better quarterback. My pick is definitely Ezekiel Elliott for the MVP so far.
Yeah, that Cowboys team has definitely been a huge surprise this past year. But I'm going to disagree with both of you. I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons underdog, Matt Ryan. Hasn't really been talked about until this year. He's always been, oh yeah, he's a good quarterback. But if you really look at his numbers, he's really an elite quarterback throughout the league. And I think this is the year that he breaks out as one of those top guys, having 23 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. I mean, it helps when you have a guy like Julio Jones. And don't forget Matt Ryan's 500-yard game and Julio Jones' 300-yard game. That happened because Matt Ryan is just that good. With an 82.2 QBR, I believe he's second in the league, only behind Tom Brady. But after that Seahawks game, that actually might change. And only, I believe, 10 games in, he's almost at 3,000 yards on the year, which is absolutely fantastic for Matt Ryan, especially that Falcons organization has really been snubbed in the past couple of years. Like we said, started off 5-0 last year.
They're in the hunt.
Yeah, now they're actually in the hunt after they messed up really bad last year. Now they're in the position to actually possibly win the division or at least get a wild card spot. So those are our personal picks for MVP. When we come back, we'll move from football onto the basketball season, focusing on Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Positano Pizza, the finest Italian cuisine and pizzeria. Show us your Wayne Hill student ID to get 2 slices of pizza or a bowl of pasta, plus a drink for only $5.
Welcome back to our segment on the NBA. So we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant and that whole dynamic here. Kevin Durant was signed to a 2-year, $54 million contract. Really a great amount of money for a guy like Kevin Durant moving to OKC. Alec, what are your thoughts on that move?
Well, I mean, after that move, Oklahoma City definitely took a major step back from that. I mean, they lost their best player. And another thing, you saying 2-year, $54 million, that's a lot of money. And their best player, Steph Curry, back-to-back MVP awards. He is actually the 5th highest paid player on the team. That's unbelievable. I mean, he's completely underpaid. It's ridiculous. And but I think KD's really earning that money. He's doing very well this season, scoring over 30 points a game, I believe. And take it back to OKC. Russell Westbrook is doing very well. He has over 31 points per game as well. But it's not really enough for them, as they're 6-5, just above 500. And at the rate they're going, I don't think they're going to really be a playoff team. But I think Golden State could make a playoffs, as they're 9-2 thus far.
Yeah, sitting at 6-5, definitely not something that OKC wanted to see. Even after losing Kevin Durant, I think they had felt Russell Westbrook can lead this team, but he really is. He's putting up a lot of numbers. Me and Maros have talked. It's really a joy to watch Russell Westbrook do what he could do. So Maros, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, while some people might give basketball criticisms, I mentioned it earlier in the show, how it's a star-driven sport and a lot of the big-name athletes can take over teams. To a certain extent, it's just fun to watch someone ball out if they have enough talent. Like, it's clear to see Oklahoma City's management and coaching staff have given Westbrook the full reins on this offense and told him to just go nuts. 6-5, obviously, that record doesn't say a lot. It doesn't really pop out to you as something like sexy or like a 9-2 Golden State, with the exception to a muffed loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. But I mean, should Russell Westbrook continue what he's doing right now, I'm sure that the entire rest of the OKC locker room could rally together, understanding the situation, and could potentially set up for a solid campaign in the playoffs. You can't say that they're going to have an NBA title, because teams like Golden State, or then on the other side of the conference, on the other side of the states, you have Cleveland, who obviously look to be reining themselves up for a title repeat. But so you can't do much with just one player there taking over the game, but it's obviously fun to watch for those who care to watch Russell Westbrook basketball, and hopefully OKC finds a way into the playoffs and manages to make some noise.
Yeah, early in the season when Golden State did lose to the Lakers in their opener, a lot of people were saying, is this like a chemistry issue? Is there a power vacuum on the Golden State Warriors? But they've really shushed the haters right now, as they're now sitting at 9-2 at the top of their division, doing some really great things down there in Golden State. And also, one of the most anticipated games of the year was Russell Westbrook KD going back to Oklahoma City, and Golden State eventually getting that dub by a wide margin. So that's all this week from the 30-Minute Drill. I'm Francesco Terranova alongside Maros, Ademac, and Alec Oppenheim. Come back next week for the 6th installment of The Drill.